And welcome back to CN2 Sports. For a sport that's been a little concerned about, well, lower TV ratings and declining attendance, last weekend could not have gone any better for NASCAR. Yes, the marquee race, the Daytona 500, was delayed by more than 6 hours, but once they got going, it was worth the wait. The sport's most popular driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr., won the event, and with it, NASCAR's popularity got a major jolt, a major boost. Jr. is all but qualified for the chase, with 25 races still to go. So, joining us now via Skype to talk all things racing is Camping World Truck Series driver Chris Lafferty. Chris joining us from Racing's hub, that would be Concord, North Carolina. Chris, my man, how's it going?
Yo, Bruce. Hey, man, it's always nice to hear from you. I'm hanging out, having a good time here, and, that race was pretty darn exciting.
What does the race mean, not just for Junior, but a lot of times, and a lot of people feel as Junior goes, so goes the sport. Not trying to say one person is bigger than the sport, but this was huge for NASCAR.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, he's the most popular driver, so if he does well, then the sport does well. He's got such a good fan base, and if that guy does good, NASCAR does good. The problem we've got is, when the fans have to get excited about somebody that can't win, that becomes a problem. So I was pretty excited to see Dale Jr. win. I'm a big fan of Dale's. I like the guy. I think he's worked his butt off to be where he's at, most popular driver, and man, he made the Daytona 500, which can be a boring race. He turned it into a pretty exciting race.
How healthy, in your opinion, do you think NASCAR is? I mean, we were talking a little bit about how the TV ratings have sagged somewhat, and yet, there's still a full schedule. So just take a look from your standpoint as someone who actively competes in NASCAR. How healthy do you think the overall sport is?
I tell you what, the sport is healthy, but has some issues. It's like they're running a fever of like 101. It's not quite put them in the hospital, but yeah, there's issues. Not as many fans are coming to the track. The TV viewership is decent, but let's face it. We have a sport where viewership on TV and in the stands is a big deal, and I think NASCAR's scared because with the internet and the way the TV is today, fans can look at all different kinds of racing and have good access to it. And we used to be, which we still are, NASCAR's at the top of the heap. There's a lot of these other, extreme sports that people are getting exposed to. So now we're in competition with those. So, hey, look, we got to let some of these guys scrap. We got to get in each other's faces and do this stuff the way it used to be done. Our fan base was built on guys like Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison, who used to beat the crap out of each other, and guys like Dale Sr., who was the same way. If he wanted to get past you, he went past you.
It's funny, I know you can't see it, but as you're describing this, we're showing video of the big wreck that took place a couple weekends ago. Do you have a feeling that that's one of the reasons why NASCAR sort of changed qualifying, among other things? Now all of a sudden at the Sprint Cup level, it's not just taking 2 laps, it's drivers actively trying to, get in the way of other drivers, trying to help make their machines go slower so that their overall qualifying spot will be lower.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's let's just say there's probably going to be a few more fights because some of these back of the pack teams that go homers, they're going to try to lay down a lap early on in their qualifying session, and then they may just play the game of blocking and the game of disrupting the guy that can send them home. From my standpoint, I think I like the new format. Now, I may change my mind next week, but I like that, you get a half hour or whatever the time frame is, as many laps as you can turn, and your fastest lap gets used. I have oftentimes gone out to qualify, I turn my 2 laps, and I go, man, I need one more lap to really get everything out of this truck, because we're a low-budget team. My first lap is basically hoping like heck that the truck's going to stay under me. My second lap is truly my one full lap of qualifying. So I think it's going to stir up some fights. I think people are going to get in other people's ways, and I think you're going to see some pretty exciting qualifying.
All right, so how are you going to feel if you get in someone's way and that, in essence, stirs up a fight? I mean, are you ready to throw down if it comes down to that?
Well, look, Bruce, I don't want to brag or nothing, but these things here are certified lethal weapons, and let's just say I'll do what I got to do. And to answer your question, how am I going to feel? It just depends on where I get hit.
I was going to say, the only reason they're lethal weapons is because they smell bad. You need to start washing them.
I do what I can do, you know. In your face, would you?
You know what?
You're going to think twice.
I was going to say, get those down. I take it back. I take it back. You know, I'm seeing behind you, I'm seeing all sorts of, well, it looks almost like a studio set. Now, anyone that has had a chance to go on YouTube knows that you have a couple productions up. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing when you're not on the track, Chris Lafferty.
Well, let me first start by saying that these guns right here, I can't put them in my pockets, otherwise they're concealed weapons. I don't have a concealed weapons permit. But yeah, you're right. What you see behind us is our new set. When I'm not racing, I got a TV show that I host, and it's called The Last Lap with Chris Lafferty, and it's basically, well, we ripped off the Jay Leno show. I mean, it's a Jay Leno show with a racing theme. We get stars of the sport, we bring them in, and you know, interview them in Leno style, and you know, you get to see a side of these guys that most people don't get to see. I mean, you know, from Hornaday to Dick Trickle. Dick Trickle was on our show before he passed away. You know, you see a side of these guys that is just amazing, and I'm blessed to be able to do this show.
Chris, I know how hard it can be to be in TV, but I'm not going to pretend it's anywhere near as tough as driving 180 or 140 or 120 or whatever the track parameters let you run. So you tell me, what is tougher for Chris Lafferty, doing TV or racing around with 39 other trucks, or however many there are? I apologize, my memory goes off. Racing around with 39 other trucks at high speeds, trying to keep everything in place.
Well, I tell you what, Bruce, I don't have any awards for being smart. So I did pick the two toughest businesses to be successful in, which is racing and TV. You know, they both have their own challenges. I mean, I've never gotten hurt doing TV, but I've also pounded the wall in racing and didn't know where I was at. So it's the racing is more physical, but you know, the TV has a set of challenges all to its own, and a lot of those challenges are, you know, that the pre-production, making sure all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. So they're both difficult.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to link your website to ours, so anyone curious about what you do can go to mycn2.com and check out all of Chris Lafferty's stuff. Chris, quickly, we've got the Arizona race, the Phoenix race coming up on this weekend on Sunday. Who do you think could be the winner in the Sprint Cup race?
Man, I tell you what, here's what, there's a list of who I'd like to see win versus who I think's going to win. One, let me start off by saying I love Phoenix. Phoenix is such a fun track to drive. I mean, you basically got to have a big old set of tires to run that track. And, you know, I think the cream's going to rise. You know, you're going to see Harvick at the front. You know, I'm going to say you're going to see Ryan Newman at the front, too. That guy's hungry for a win. The guys that are good at road courses are going to run up front. You know, Phoenix is like a left-hand turn road course. So, you know, Marcus Ambrose is going to be up front. You're going to see Jeff Gordon up front. You know, the guy I'm pulling for is old Chris Lafferty, but unfortunately, until Chris Lafferty gets him a cup ride, he's going to be just sitting in the Truck Series. Well,
I'll tell you what, you might be sitting in the Truck Series, but we also know where to find you off the track. Chris, thank you very much. Watch out for those lethal weapons. You know, don't get yourself in trouble. And, of course, we appreciate it. We'll be talking to you throughout the racing season.
Thanks, Bruce. And look, thunder strikes where thunder wants to strike. So wherever these things feel like striking, they're gonna.
Just make sure they don't strike yourself, all right?
Can't make any promises, Bruce.
Take care, Chris. Good talking with you.